Hi, welcome to a very important breaking news story from me, the Silver Fox. Literally seconds. I got notified by Lesley it was coming out at 3 o'clock. It actually was released at 15:13 is when it hit. It's key marked on the thing at 15:04. Obviously, it has to go through the process. It is literally seconds up, and I knew it was coming. So I'm going here first to go. So I'm just not even. It's not even a full video. I'm just going to go straight in, and we'll do this story. It's about Lesley. You'll want to know, and this is breaking news. So here you go. Hi, and well, we've got this story here. Now, obviously, they say it's always best to be first. Well, I am first. I knew this was coming. I've been on the phone with, well, not on the phone, so I've been emailing and talking with Lesley. She told me it was coming. So, whistleblowing nurse Lesley Roberts it's confirmed now, is removed from COVID inquiry due to Facebook post. We suspected it to be the case. She'd she'd appealed it and put the application in to appeal it, and was told no because it was on her Facebook page. They took that as an official complaint, an official resignation. It was no such thing. But of course, they were looking for every single opportunity they could get to make sure she was nowhere near this this inquiry, because they knew her material was so explosive. So a key witness to the Scottish public inquiry into the pandemic has had her invitation to give evidence withdrawn just days before she was due to address the hearings in Edinburgh. And this is massive. This goes to show the cover-up is already in place, that they know it's in place. And of course it means that there are lies on the webpage. A crusading former nurse and healthcare union rep has been removed from giving evidence at the Scottish COVID-19 inquiry due to comments she made on her personal Facebook page. Lesley Roberts was due to speak at the probe in Edinburgh on Wednesday and says she is planning to appeal the decision. In actual fact, she's now, literally minutes ago, confirmed that they have rejected the appeal. That's obviously between Ben Borland writing this piece and it being released. Lesley's just informed me that that has now gone. The appeal has been denied. She's been told of her shock that members of the inquiry team would be monitoring her social media. The incident was triggered by a Scottish Daily Express story relating to Miss Roberts' evidence headlined "Former Nurse vows she will blow the SNP's COVID scandal wide open at the Scottish public inquiry." And although the information in the story was already mostly in the public domain, we, talk about the Daily Express, have accepted that the article could have breached a restriction order preventing publication of evidence submitted to the inquiry. As a result, they agreed to remove the article from the website. Who pushed them to do it? What pressure? There was nothing in that article. I read the article. I've done a video on the article. There was nothing in that article that was new. Every single thing in that article we've already talked about and discussed before. It's in the public domain. Miss Roberts told us she was frustrated at the decision. She said, "I stayed up late on Wednesday night and then on Thursday morning, and I put up a Facebook post saying I didn't want anything to do with the inquiry. It was born out of frustration and tiredness on my part. That was it. It was intended for friends and family, not for the inquiry. I had no idea they were monitoring my Facebook. They weren't tagged. They weren't contacted in any way. I'd had a busy day on Thursday. Then I worked all the way through the night, finalising my statement, which went in at 9 a.m. on Friday. Then I heard that they had withdrawn me from the inquiry as a result of my post. They said Lord Brailsford had accepted my resignation. I shouldn't have put it up, but it was the view that it would have only been seen by my friends and family. And also, it's not an official resignation from the inquiry. She did not write to Brailsford. She did not contact the COVID inquiry and say, I'm pulling out. And that is what it is. They are desperate to make sure she does not appear. They will do everything they can. Who has lent on Brailsford? Is it Bain? Is it someone else? Is it dark forces? We will perhaps never know. A brief statement was released on the inquiry website on Friday stating, following Lesley Roberts' announcement on social media yesterday, 16th of May, she was no longer intends to give evidence at the Scottish COVID-19 inquiry. Its chair, Lord Brailsford, has withdrawn his invitation to hear her for her to appear at the public hearing. The independent inquiry has always been keen to receive evidence from Lesley Roberts, relevant to its terms of reference. Now, those terms of reference were such that although they had her written statement in for months, they sent it back with days to go, asking her to rewrite it all. They'd rewritten it, they'd redacted stuff, they'd changed stuff. What they'd presented back for her to simply sign and agree to, she was not prepared to do. It was a work of fiction. It was nothing that she wanted to say. So she spent the entire 24 hours rewriting everything, 100 pages or something like that, and sending it all back in. And they accepted it the second time, and then they went, oh my God, they've read it. Now, they couldn't have had time between reading it and firing her. So it was like they knew what was coming. They glanced at it and went, oh my God, this is still desperate. This is still dangerous. This will put people in prison, and so they must get rid of her. And this is what's happened. Miss Roberts, who was an infection control linked nurse with NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde and a Unite Union rep at the outside of the pandemic and health and safety, she said, I've been told I can appeal and I've already asked for permission to do so. I've deleted the post now, but it said I don't want to give evidence. I'm disgusted. Now, just saying you don't want to give evidence doesn't mean you're not going or willing to give evidence. I don't want to do this, but I must. They're not the same thing, but they are so desperate to get her out of there. Miss Roberts had been at the forefront of efforts to expose what she sees as grave errors, my view, criminal actions. But that's a different thing. Grave errors in handling the COVID pandemic by the Scottish Government. Her main complaints relate to the safety of face masks, which aren't safe, and other PPE given to frontline NHS and social care workers. The indiscriminate use of do not resuscitate orders, especially for elderly and disabled people, and the infamous decision to release untested hospital patients into care homes because they must have known that by doing that they would risk putting COVID into care homes with vulnerable people and thus alleviating the problem of unionism by eradicating whole cohorts of elderly people who are likely to vote for unionism. In my view, and it's just my view, that is the evidence there. At that point, that is corporate homicide. They knew. Along with other campaigners, she made a report to Police Scotland claiming the former ministers, including Nicola Sturgeon and Jean Freeman, are guilty of corporate manslaughter under the UK health and safety law. Detectives have taken a lengthy statement, which now forms part of Operation Cobra inquiry into avoidable COVID deaths in Scotland. At various points, she's also raised concerns in the public domain, including in multiple previous Scottish Daily Express stories, and of course on here as well, many times she come onto the channel, about the use of end-of-life protocols to hasten the deaths of COVID patients. And we've mentioned that before, and we've said how they use midazolam and oromorph to put people asleep. And it was actually in the COVID treatment book, was an end-of-life euthanizing care was seen as a treatment, putting people out their misery. The treatment of COVID, killing people. Let them go quietly. Let's just kill them. That'll cure them. It'll cure the problem. The problem, of course, being, unionism. A spokesperson for the inquiry said, following Lesley Roberts' announcement on her public Facebook page on the 16th of May 2024, she no longer intended to give evidence at the Scottish COVID inquiry. That's not what it said. It merely said she didn't want to. Not the same thing. The independent inquiry has always been seen, blah, 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 blah. The same old bollocks that they're going to spin out every time. They'll say all nice things now. But the truth is, they do not want and never have wanted Lesley to give evidence. It's a cover-up. It is black ops. It's a psyop thing here going on. There's so many people have got to be involved in this, in the establishment. Pressure applied. Stop Lesley Roberts. Operation Lesley. Got to stop her. Her evidence must never be released. It must never be considered, because they know if it is considered and there is illegality, and if she can point out and it is accepted by the inquiry that there was illegal acts going on, then there is no other action. They are obliged to bring the police in and investigate it. And that's the last thing they want. I'm going to contact Lesley again. I'm speaking to her tomorrow. I'm not going to be speaking to her again today. We've had a lot today. I'm going to let her go. I'm going to speak to her tomorrow. We'll see what's going on. But this is explosive. They're now even admitting that, what they've done. And Ben, well done, Ben, for bringing this out so quickly. But as I said, first to report it because I knew it was coming. Thank you very much. I'm going to come up and we'll round off. So there you are, done and dusted. Like I say, we're going to go through all of this with Lesley tomorrow, but it is quite clear that the last thing they could afford was to have Lesley and her evidence revealed in the COVID inquiry, because they knew it would lead to people, senior people, many senior people, going to prison. Thanks very much. You lot are all fantastic. Please like this video. Please share this video. And absolutely, if you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe to the channel, because there is much more to come on this. This is a huge story and it's set to run. Thank you. Goodbye.